Okay, so, don't know. Are we on the right page now? We've been on several pages, so let's just see. I went off of that page, and now hopefully I'm on live on the Dixie Belle page. All of them say Dixie Belle page, so I'm not sure which one we're on. So Kelsey, if you're with me, am I on the right page now? Kelsey, yes, Dixie Belle Paint Company page. Yes, finally, we are on the right spot. Okay, so sorry, we are having technical difficulties. I don't know if it has, hopefully, are you guys still there? Connection. Yes, hi. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, so I just want to recap on this. Sorry, because we were having technical difficulties. We are now up and rolling, I hope. We do have some feeder bands in our area. My name is Kimberly Nelson, and I am coming from North Carolina. So we are in Kernersville area of North Carolina. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Sorry about the technical difficulty we're having, trying to figure out where we're supposed to be and how to be there. So we thank you for joining us tonight. I have a few things. Hey, Kelly, thank you for joining us. And Judy, you guys, thank you for being patient with us tonight as we are trying to go live here with you guys from North Carolina. And I'm in the Kernersville area. And my name is Kimberly, and I have a couple of different I'm a booth vendor, but I'm a premier retailer for Dixie Belle chalk paint in our area. Had my business here in Kernersville for 2 years, had the business overall for 5, and now we pretty much just do furniture art for Dixie Belle. So just so you guys get a little background of who I am, where we are, and Carly, can you see us now live on the page?
Yeah, a lot of people are
okay.
Where they're at.
Okay. Oh, thank you for letting us know where you are. Hello. If you just keep me posted, Carly, on who they are and where they are. My little girl's over here. She's going to help us tonight. So we thank you for joining us and staying with us during our technical difficulties. You see some things in the background here. This is, yes, one of the chairs that I am painting, and I will recap, as we were saying on the other, apparently on the other airwaves, that I do, every year we do a take a seat for charity. So we are painting some chairs, and we do that for Next Step Ministries in our area. So I don't know if you can see this chair very well, but hopefully you can. And just tell me some comments, and I will answer them if need be, Carly. So this chair, obviously, you see has fabric on it, but it has some stains and imperfections. So tonight I'm going to come in and I'm going to show you guys how I fix this, and with the help of Dixie Belle's paint. So our Facebook page, which is Unique Finds and Designs Boutique, you can see that we have gone in and we have used all of Dixie Belle's new colors. We've featured them on lots of different pieces that you see around us here. Some of these pieces are in the workshop still that are curing. I love to get my pieces in. Yes, you got a question. Shoot it.
No, it's Mary says, are you on the coast?
I am not, Mary, on the coast. Thankfully, I am inland. I am near Winston-Salem, Greensboro area. So I'm not exactly on the coast. So I am blessed in that respect. I do know the coast has had some battering winds and some tornadoes down near the beach area here in North Carolina.
Some people are saying that it's not clear.
It's not clear. My picture, I need to move closer.
More clear.
Okay, yeah, it might be because I'm moving, so I don't know if my camera moves a little bit when I move. I'm not really sure about that. I don't want it to mess up. I apologize if it's not very clear. So what I'm doing tonight, I did use some Dixie mud on this. Hopefully you guys can, I don't know if you can see too well. This piece had some imperfection right here on the corner.
Someone cannot see the chair.
You cannot see the chair from the back or front. Let me see if I can do that without bobbling you guys and being right on top of you. Okay, well, it's not clear now, I'm sure, because I'm messing with it. So I'm trying to get it here so you guys can see a little bit better. Yeah, I know, that's what I'm trying to do, you guys. Sorry, I'm trying to get this wedged in here where you guys can kind of see. I know it's kind of bobbly. Can you see the chair better now? I'm not sure that you can, but hopefully you can. Is that a little bit better? Just let me know, Carly.
It's clear.
Is it clear or no?
It says it did clear when you moved forward.
It did clear when I moved forward. Okay, let me just kind of, I know you can't see the bottom of the chair, but hopefully you can see the top. So hopefully that's a little better. You still can't see? Okay, let's get it. Okay, well, what I'm gonna do is go ahead and show you guys how I go about getting the chair ready to prep and paint. So what happened to my, do you see my mist bottle over there? Did I roll it off? Here, I set it. I set it out of my way. You know, that's how it goes. So I have,
Everybody says it looks good.
yeah, the chair has a few imperfections. If you see here, there's some blue. I don't know if you guys can see this little circle here. So there is some imperfections on this chair. And so I'm gonna give it upscale it. And so you wanna have a mister bottle, and I have my brush. Tonight I have the oval medium brush of Dixie Belle's. And like I said, I have our French linen is what I'm gonna paint our upholstery. So we have a beautiful chair, but if you don't want to have to pay for reupholstering, you can paint your piece with the Dixie Belle paint. So you have more comments to tell me, Missy? So I'm going to take my mist bottle, and so you want your fabric damp. You know, you want it wet. So I'm going to mist my furniture and get my fabric wet. You can see this piece may have been in a home where there was smoke, someone might have been smoking in the home, and so it has some yellowing on the fabric, around the fabric. Is there questions? Just tell them to me so I can help.
Linda says hi from Spring, Texas.
Hey Linda, how are you? Thank you for joining. So I'm just gonna take my oval medium brush, I'm gonna dampen the brush, and I'm using our French linen out of our new lineup of Dixie Belle paint colors. So I'm just going to come in here and start painting. Like I said, I'm not worried about my paint getting on my wood when I first came on. So I'm just kind of working it into the fabric. And I'm going to just paint along this edge. The rest of the chair I'm going to paint in the sawmill gravy. So this is going to be French linen and sawmill gravy. So I dampen my fabric first, guys. So get your fabric wet and then just kind of do it in thin coats. You don't have to get your first coat thick on here. The key is to put it in thin coats and then kind of let it dry up.
Someone asked, you don't need to tape off the wood?
I don't need to tape off the wood. The reason I'm not taping off the wood is because I'm not leaving it wood. As you can see down here, it had a crack in it and I had to repair that wood. So it's kind of one of those things was gonna have to paint the chair anyway. So why not make it my own? Yes, hon.
Got another. Happy says, is it best to use out of the jar or pour into another container so it don't contaminate?
Yeah, it's better to do it that way. It's better to do it on, like I'm not working on anything that's really dirty. So if I was doing my wood, I most likely would, so I wouldn't get any stain back in my paint. However, this is a open jar that I've been using out of. So for that purpose, I'm good to go with that. So I'm making sure that my fabric is damp. Hopefully you guys can see how that's going on. It's going to be a lovely color. What I do is I try to get it in a thin coat. So put your paint on in a thin coat, and I'm not worried about my wood. For one, I have a rag with me, and I can come back and wipe it back. If you're worried about your wood, tape it off. So yes, I would have taped it off if I was worried about it. In this case, I'm not, because I am actually going to be coming in here and painting that wood. So it doesn't make a difference to me. I would rather get it on my wood now while I'm painting my fabric than vice versa and get it on my fabric. So when I go in to paint my wood, then I will tape off my fabric. because I won't want that on my fabric, my new fabric color. So you're going to put it on thin. A lot of people are concerned painting fabric that it'll be a stiff and they won't like it because it will be a really hard, stiff chair. You don't have to worry about that with Dixie Belle. Yes. So when you put it...
Can you paint over flax leather using Dixie Belle paint?
That's a good question. I haven't personally tried to paint over leather,
Dixie Belle says yes, you
but
can.
I believe it would be something that wouldn't be an issue because pretty much all surfaces are paintable.
Lisa says, does the fabric stay soft?
Yes, that's what I was getting at, Elisa. Is that what you said, Lisa? I was getting at that. So the fabric, when it dries, it is still going to be relatively soft. Put it in on thin coats. Once it dries, what I do is I go in with Dixie Belle's little sanding disc. I have one somewhere. And once it dries, sand in between your coats. Just lightly scuff it and then go in and paint some more. So who's with us?
151.
And I see a couple of people saying they want to watch with us. So we thank you for jumping on with us. Who's here with us? Give me some ideas. Where are you guys from? So you see how I'm just going over this. I'm kind of working it into the fabric, but I'm keeping my fabric moist, and that makes it easier for it to go on. Cheryl.
That's from Mississippi.
Thank you for joining us tonight.
Someone says hello from NC.
Oh, hello. Someone from North Carolina. Where are you guys at? Hopefully not at the beach right now.
We're from North Carolina.
Yeah. So you see I'm just kind of putting it on. I'm kind of working it into my fabric.
South Carolina.
So I will put this on. Welcome from South Carolina.
Michigan.
So you can see this is going to be gorgeous when you get it on. You just let the paint, just kind of putting it on in a really thin coat.
You got somebody from Florida.
Someone from Florida. How are you people in Florida? What's their name?
Oklahoma.
What's their name? I hope he doesn't come flying through the door.
Charlotte is in Maine.
Charlotte, welcome from Maine. We are doing a doing this lovely chair tonight, and we're painting our fabric. Like I say, I have do a lot of workshops here, and our girls are interested in painting some vintage chairs that their family has handed down, and they're wanting to have them reupholstered. And this is a way to do it without having to reupholster your chair. And Dixie Belle paint is amazing paint for fabric painting. So don't be afraid to just jump in and get started.
We've got South Dakota.
What's her name? What's her name?
Lisa.
Lisa? So this is the French linen, and you see I put it on in a thin coat all over. So what I'm going to do now with the top, I'm going to go ahead and work on the bottom, but on the top here, I'm going to let it
How long does it take to dry first coat?
The first coat I will let it dry overnight because I want to lightly sand this coat, and when I sand this coat, I will let it dry overnight, come in and lightly sand it. That is the key to keeping it soft. So after you sand it, then I'll put on another coat. As you can see, it's not going to take a lot of coats because you can see the difference already in the two tones.
Someone wants to know what you're spraying.
I am using a Mr. bottle. This is nothing but water because we're using Dixie Belle chalk paint, and it is a water-based paint. Water is your friend when it comes to using Dixie Belle paint, especially when you're painting fabric. You want to keep your fabric moist. You don't want to drench it. You just want to keep it moist. And so that's what I've done. I've just kind of come in here and kept this fabric nice and moist. And this is our first coat. I'm not over soaking the piece, which is important. I'm going to move the chair back a little bit so maybe you guys can see a little bit better on the bottom part of this chair. So I am going to paint the seat. Again, I'm not concerned about my wood. I'm going to paint it anyway because I'm painting it in the sawmill gravy. Yes, ma'am. Do I? Okay.
You have sanding doesn't sag for fabric. Has a question.
Does it what?
Does sanding sag for fabric or doesn't it?
The sanding does not hurt your fabric because we will actually be sanding the paint more than the fabric. Now what I do after I complete all of this, after I've let it dry and I come in and I do my second coat if I need a second coat, and then I will put my second coat on, I'll let it dry, same process. Then what I will do is I will come in and I will lightly sand it very gently and then use our easy peasy spray wax. That's what keeps your fabric still feeling like fabric and not like stiff paint. Yes, ma'am. She had a question?
Someone wants to know what is the blue color.
The blue color? Where? Behind us here? The blue vanity, is that what you're asking about? The blue vanity was one of our lives I did over on my personal page, and we did that in the dusty blue. So this furniture that you're seeing here is the dusty blue, and this is the espresso gel stain on our hardware and also on the tops of these pieces. So you can't, I don't know if you can see that in the background, but that's what that is. So that's our dusty blue that you're seeing in the blue pieces behind me. The piece that is right here beside me is done in the sawmill gravy. So that is a gorgeous, gorgeous color, the sawmill gravy, which is what's going to be on the outside. So this is going to be French linen and sawmill gravy when I complete it. So any more questions? So again, I just have my Mr. bottle, and I don't know what time is it, babe?
Someone wants to know, do you have a distributor of your paints in Australia?
That's a good question for Dixie Belle. Do we have a distributor in Australia? I'll throw that back at the Dixie Belle ladies that are with us tonight. They will be able to tell our main ladies there. They would probably be able to answer that question for you.
Someone wants to know what brush are you using to paint your fabric?
Tonight I'm using the oval medium, Dixie Belle oval medium brush. So it's easy for me to kind of crunch down on so that I can kind of work the paint into the fabric. I'm just kind of working it in. That's keeping the fabric nice and soft and subtle. So you can see the fabric feels just like fabric. It doesn't feel like there's any paint on it. It's really awesome. And if you haven't tried it, it's a good opportunity to. Yes, more questions?
Someone wants to know if a piece is gel stained with another brand, can you gel stain over with Dixie Belle gel stain?
If it has a stain of another paint, can you put gel stain over it? Is that what you're asking? Is it another stain? Can you put Dixie Belle over it? I have, and I haven't had any problems. And I haven't sanded it down to bare wood either. So I haven't had any issues with that, and I have gone right over varnish. You can't see this table here.
Someone wants to know what color you're painting the wood.
The wood, I will be painting that in the sawmill gravy because it's going to be a nice contrast between the two colors. Hopefully you can see it's going to be just enough to kind of pop that fabric, which is the whole goal. Fabric has a cool looking design in it, so you can kind of see that coming into play now that it's drying a little bit. Doesn't take very long for the fabric to dry, but I do let it sit overnight, so that is a key. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to continue painting. Again, I'm not worried about my wood. I know I'm going to get it painted, but it's okay because I'm painting it anyway down the road. So Carly, more questions, just let me know.
Not yet.
Yeah, the blue set that you see in the background is in its curing phase. It's painted.
Someone wants to know if there's a spray bottle again.
The spray bottle is nothing but water. This is a Mr. bottle. This is Dixie Belle. They had some Mr. bottles that we've just come out with. That's what you're seeing me spray. You want to have your fabric damp when you're putting your paint on. It's the same as wanting to have your brush damp when you're painting your furniture. So it's the same process, but we're just painting fabric here. So I'm just going to get this on. And like I said, I'm not really concerned about the wood because I'm going to come in and I'm going to mock this wood. I call it mock the wood out, because all of this detail will be jumping out at you like it does on this table beside me that you won't see because it is brown. Yes, ma'am.
Someone wants to know, how do you prep for painting if your existing fabric has stains?
If my existing fabric has stains, I would try and clean it first. Again, with your Mr. bottle and a rag and our White Lightning cleaner by Dixie Belle. It's a great cleaner. and it's in a powder form. It will work perfect for your fabric as well. I have used it on my carpets even in the house because you can't really find a cleaner much better than the White Lightning cleaner. So I just go at my carpet, if it gets a stain or something, I use it. I use our White Lightning cleaner even in the house on my fabric. So that just in case you guys don't know you can do that, you can. So again, I'm just using the oval brush. I'm just kind of working the paint.
Someone wants to know how you're going to seal it when you're done.
I'm going to seal this. That's a good question. How do I seal it when I'm finished? What I do is let it completely dry on my coats. If I do 2 or 3 coats, I sand very lightly in between those coats and I knock down the roughness of the paint. And then I spray it.
What grade of sandpaper?
I'm using our Dixie Belle fine sandpaper sanding sponges. I believe they're 120 grit or less. Or they're very fine sandpaper. 220 maybe is what I use. So all it's doing is just kind of knocking the surface of your chalk paint down. That's what's making it feel stiff. And when you sand it and spray it, I spray it with our Easy Peasy spray wax. So that's what keeps it soft and supple. So that keeps it locked in and not coming off your piece. So I'm just keeping my paint up here with me. And so I'm just going to come around here. You have to just keep popping those questions at me, Carly, as I'm working.
Can you paint? Can you use the paint on a leather sofa?
Leather sofa. I don't see that you couldn't. I'm sure you probably can. I don't know any. I haven't come across anything yet that I couldn't paint. But you would cure it and you would seal it. In that case, I would probably use. I'd probably still use Easy Peasy spray wax if I was doing that. I could see flux leather a little bit easier than the regular leather. That's a good question.
Someone wants to know, can you use this on the velvet type upholstery fabric?
Yeah, you can use it on velvet. Yes, most definitely. You can. I've seen several ladies actually do it on the leather, or excuse me, on the velvet. Or velour, kind of that velour fabric, maybe that's what you're speaking of. So you see, I'm just kind of spinning, I'm kind of working my brush in circular motion, and it's kind of working the paint down into the fabric. I don't have to soak my piece, but I do want to keep it wet. It's kind of the same case as when you're blending. You want to blend with a wet surface. So the same when you're putting your paint on your furniture. What time is it, Carly? So I'm just going to, okay, I'm just going to come in here along this beaded edge because this is where it's attached to the chair. And that's probably where it's gotten the most of its wear is right here on this edge of this fabric. So if you're worried about it being stiff, that's what a lot of people say. Oh, how can you paint fabric? It'll be stiff. It will not be stiff. It's super, super soft, believe it or not, especially when you seal it at the end with your Easy Peasy spray wax. I use the spray wax for almost everything, so I would recommend the Easy Peasy spray wax for your sealing your paint. So you can just kind of see how easy it was, and there's a few areas where you can see where it's not all this drying now, and you can see where it's going to take a second coat to kind of work into the fabric, but that's okay. I like to work my paint in thin layers on fabric. It's kind of like when we go in and we do our first coat a little heavier, and then we go in and we do a thinner coat. So that's just kind of how you work it into your fabric, and it will take a coat or two because it is going to seep in, and you want it to. And by no means is it soaking wet, it's damp. Doesn't even really come off on my hand, so you know that your fabric is absorbing your paint. That's why I'm doing it in a circular motion. You have another question for me? I'm going to move to the other side of this chair. Pardon me for being in your view. Let me get over here.
It covers stains.
It will cover stains. If you go with a darker color, obviously, it's going to do a little bit better. If this is a little bit darker, see, I know there's some stains here. There was a blue stain up here. You can't even see it now, but there was a blue stain up there. Was one of the reasons I was going to paint this fabric. Now you could come in here with a metallic and add some metallic to the top of that. It would be beautiful. So you could come in here with a steel magnolia or one of our metallics and work it into your fabric as well. If you
wants to know, do you spray the wax and then brush it, or just spray and leave?
I spray my wax on and I rub it in with a soft t-shirt material is what I do. So if I was spraying this at the end result, yes, and I will be doing that over on my Facebook page because this is not going to be dry in time, obviously, for tonight's lesson or tonight's video. So I will be continuing that over on the other part of the page, on my live page. So that's Unique Finds and Designs boutique. So you can follow that process as I will continue finishing up the painting on the outside of this piece. Where I normally do lives on all of the repair work that I do. There's multiple pieces here that you see behind us that have veneer issues, veneers lifting. I repair all of that stuff, and I use our Dixie Belle products for all of my work. So because I am their premier here in the Triad, I'm in the Triad area of North Carolina. So we do a lot with our workshops.
Will you sand between coats?
Yes, ma'am. I do sand in between my coats. So right now I'm just putting on a nice thin coat, getting my paint on, and allowing my fabric to sort of absorb it. So this is the very first coat of paint on this piece. And I am using the mister bottle. I'm keeping my paint wet. What, hon? I can't hear you. So thank you for joining us. So I've been anxious to do one of these chairs. I've been doing workshops for a while. In fact, I have a workshop coming up September 12th in our area. And I am doing we may be doing some fabric there, because some of the gals have been asking. Again, what you see I'm using, this is just a mister bottle with water. Dixie Belle has got those now. So all these products that I'm using, you can easily acquire. So you see I'm just going in circular motions, and I chose it because it was our round brush, the round oval. It works perfect for just kind of, and it's so small, and well, it's the medium oval. And it just kind of works the paint into the fabric. You can kind of see here at the bottom. Let me see if I can tilt this. If I'm not gonna build back into anything. So I don't know. Can you guys see how that detail? Even though I'm not really painting it in that color, but I'm gonna come in with the sawmill gravy. Do you see how the detail shows up on this chair so much more than if it's just in the wood? So you didn't even hardly realize the chair had this gorgeous detail on it. But I can promise you, when I'm finished with our Dixie Belle painting, you will be able to see that gorgeous. And if you didn't want it on there, you can just spray it and wipe it right off. Just moisten it. If you feel like your paint is getting on your wood, I would have, if I was not wanting my wood with paint on it, which in my case it doesn't matter. But if I didn't want it on there, I would have taped it off.
Can you buy Dixie Belle in Canada?
I believe so. I think we have somebody there, believe it or not. And I'm sure they would ship it. I'm pretty sure. Seems like I've seen that there. That's a good one for Natalie, or one of the gals if she's on with us. Our Dixie Belle ambassadors there. So you can wipe it off, just wet it and wipe it back off. It's really your preference how you want to do your work. But mine, I'm actually going to go in. Doesn't matter to me if it's painted a little bit on the wood, because I'm going to paint it anyway. And it'll give it a lot of character, Now, on this corner, I don't know if you guys can see. Hopefully you can. Let me move this chair in a little bit. There's a little stain right here. You can kind of see that right there. So I am going to...
What are you doing to wood?
I'm going to paint the wood in the sawmill gravy. Believe it or not. Right here, though, I made a repair because there was a chunk of wood missing out of this chair. So that's what kind of obligated me to paint this piece, is repairing that. The only way you could repair that and not see that is most likely using an epoxy, where you can stain that epoxy to the color of your wood. In my case, I'm painting the chair because we do what do I want to say? We do a chair for charity. So it's called Take a Seat for Charity. It's for the Next Step Ministries. And so these chairs, when they get completed by an artist and they're done completing and painting their chairs, the chairs get auctioned off in a silent auction. And that money that's raised for that goes to Next Step Ministries in our location. Yes, you have another question?
Is there a retailer in Fredericksburg, VA? I have to
Fredericksburg.
buy it now.
Yeah, you will love it. Fredericksburg, Virginia. I'm sure all you have to do is type in your zip code for Dixie Belle, and it will show up what retailers are in your area. So that's, if you're looking for a Dixie Belle retailer to try our paint products for the first time, you can go on Dixie Belle's page, and you can type in your zip code, and it will show up the amount of retailers that happen to be in your location. So yes, you can find somebody near you. So don't let that worry you. What time is it, Carly?
8:45.
8:45. So there, you can kind of see, I've just used my oval and I've just kind of spun it around and got it. This got a cool little fabric design on here. It's got a little bit of a design. You could almost, and I know it sounds crazy, but you could go in here and make this a leopard print chair super easily, because it has already the little, it's tedious and it would take you a while, but it would be gorgeous. I love leopard print, so that would be fun. And I'm always telling my daughter I like to funk them up. I call that funking the chair up. So funk, F-U-N-K, funking up my chairs. So it would be really awesome to do that with, after I've done this, you could come in with your brown and black. This would be really cool, and make this into a leopard print on both, and it would have been hand painted.
Are you painting the fabric?
I am painting the fabric tonight in our in the French linen by Dixie Belle. Obviously, it's Dixie Belle, one of Dixie Belle's newest colors that they just come out with. We just come out with 5 new colors, and I have been featuring every color on my personal Facebook live videos for the past week. So that's what you're seeing in the background here. Everything has been painted and featured the new colors. Sorry?
I was typing.
Oh, are you answering for me?
Yes.
Thank you. So I'm going to spin this around and show you that there is the back of this chair. So the back of this chair is why I purchased this chair to begin with. So I'm going to spin it around, and you can see there's some edges here, but I'm not worried about it because I'm going to do more than one coat. But the tricky part now is the back. Check out the back on that chair. Isn't that awesome? So you can see some fading, but look at this wood. Isn't that gorgeous? The thing is, it's gorgeous, but I'm really going to pop all of this when I come in with the sawmill gravy. And so I'm going to come in here and I'm going to paint under the bottom here, which maybe you guys can see. See up under the bottom now? Look at the detail on this piece of, and it was something that somebody was, you know, had no more love for. So I'm like, I have got to...
Does it have to be a certain fabric?
It does not have to be a certain fabric. Almost all fabrics can be painted. I haven't found anything that I couldn't, you know, get my paint on. So I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to get at the back of this. Again, I'm not worried about my wood. Not concerned about it at all, because I'm going to paint it. And I've got my mist bottle now. I'm going to mist along here. So I want my fabric moist. That helps my fabric absorb my color. So I'm going to just kind of get up under there. Just kind of join my color. That's why I'm keeping my fabric moist. And I do have, if you don't want it on your wood, tape it off if you don't want it on your wood. In my case, I'm not really at all concerned about it because I'm going to paint my wood, so it's no big deal to me. You guys hear that? I don't know if you guys can hear that wind out there. I got a fan running in here. It kind of masks the sound outside. We're having some pretty good winds out there right now. Hoping none of the trees come down. And the power. That would be not so hot, losing the power. Thank you for answering, Carly. Let them know welcome and thank you for viewing. Thank you for joining us tonight. If you're still joining us. So you see, I just went in and I painted that. And I'm gonna come in and you can just wipe this is water-based paint. So all you have to do if you're worried about your wood, just come in there with your water. Now, if you didn't have all this detail. Now on the wood, when it comes to painting the wood, I'm using French linen tonight. Do you see where this was cracked? All this was repaired. So I repaired all of this to make this chair usable again. And I repaired it and let it set. So this has been in my workshop for a couple of days as I was making these repairs. And I was preparing for this class and painting tonight this furniture and furniture fabric. There are numerous kinds of fabric out there, obviously, that you come across when you find these old chairs. Majority of it's smoother than this is tonight. But this, like I said, would be awesome if you came in here and painted it with a leopard print. I would love that. So you see how easy it was for me to just wash that off. So I just washed it off. Now when I come in and paint this, then I will come along this edge and tape it up. I will tape my fabric off at that point. I'm not worried about taping it off now, but I will tape it off when I go. So now I'm going to start up here and just continue on painting. Carly, you were keeping my time, right? Am I okay on time? Sorry? I can't hear you.
What color the dresser?
Oh, the dresser is the dusty blue. That's the newest one of Dixie Belle's new colors, the new blue. So that's the Dixie Belle blue. Now it's going to be a little tricky coming in here and painting, but you see I'm moistening up my fabric. I'm getting my fabric ready to absorb and take on my paint. So you want to mist your fabric. So I'm just misting it. That's all you see me doing here.
Are there any pigments you shouldn't use on upholstery?
Any pigments you shouldn't use on upholstery? That's a good question. I have not had any issues with any of them. The antebellum blue would be gorgeous. That was the first color I think I started with when I...
have a couple minutes left.
Okay. So basically you see it doesn't take any amount of time really to come in here and get your fabric painted. Just use your moist brush, keep a moist brush and keep your fabric damp as you're working your fabric. And it's just really pretty simple. Simple. Now I did clean all of my wood and prepped everything prior to coming live on this class tonight. And I did clean all of that with the White Lightning cleaner. So that is something that I did do there. So how do I seal it? After I paint it, I go in. Let me grab it real quick. So after this is all dry and I've done a couple of coats, I sand in between all of my coats, even though it is a chair. It's not going to hurt because I use very fine sanding disc. That is our little sanding disc that Dixie Belle has and makes. Then I go in with our clear, easy peasy spray wax. Yes, we do, yes. And so that's what we'll be doing. We will be sealing this down with the easy peasy spray wax. That is the key to keeping your fabric soft and subtle. So we thank you guys for joining us tonight. I believe our time is running out. I'm going to continue working here, but it's been my pleasure for you to join me this evening. We thank you for checking in with us, and we hope you guys have a blessed evening. So this was the one, and this is French linen on this chair. So I'm gonna turn it around, let you guys see it. We thank you so much. Hope you have a blessed evening, guys. You can go over on our Facebook page and join us there at Unique Finds and Designs if you'd like to see the finishing touches of this chair over on that page. So I'm gonna check out tonight and let you all have a blessed evening, and we will see you over there sometime. Thank you so much. Good night, all. Thank you.